Hi everybody, it's David Fleming here from the Toronto Realty Group, and welcome back to this week's Pick 5. Now, all throughout the city of Toronto, there are some older folks that have been in their houses for quite some time that are thinking about downsizing. Now, not every older folk wants to move from a house to a condo, but many of them do. The issue is so many of them want to stay in the same area. Now, I was born and raised in Leaside, where of course, say 5-6 years ago, there were absolutely no condos. Now, yes, okay, there was a couple of condos, let's say at Bayview and Eglinton, and if you go west on Eglinton Avenue, you can see a bunch of them there, but there were no new condos, no newer condos. There just simply weren't enough condos to, let's say, meet the demand of what is an aging demographic in the area and folks that want to stay there. Now, fast forward, you've got a new building at 1414 Bayview, you've got Gearlock Developments, you have Gearlock who's done another project that's over at Bayview and Eglinton, and then when you go up to Broadway, you can see there's like 4 or 5 development applications in that is going to be built up with new condos. Another area where I see options for downsizers is the Kingsway. And today I wanted to use this as one example of how people can downsize and specifically what they should be looking for. Now, when I say how they can downsize, I don't mean physically packing up your home and moving. I mean the price point, I mean the specific location, I mean the layout, size, style, the age of the building, and one really important nugget here, the maintenance fees. Because in some of these buildings, when you get up there in square footage and you combine it with older buildings, the fees are big. Now, let's go and look at the Kingsway. You can see the outline here. This is what Google Maps tells us. Now, I've obviously said over here in past, I don't really think of this as the Kingsway. Yes, this one is over here, but West Rose Avenue and the train track, I would kind of draw a line here. And then sort of over here, I would say too, you know what, how much of this is prime Kingsway? The school is up here, and you've got prime right over here on Kingsway Crescent, where if you're ever driving by, you see some of these houses, absolute gangbuster homes. They look like they're built out of, I don't know, in the middle of England or something, backing onto 55 acres. And many of them are backing onto the ravine, which is really neat. But regardless, I could gush about the Kingsway. That's not the point. Today, I want to look at downsizing options. So let's go to our map here, and I'm going to show you the option set. So you've got one up here on Dundas. Now that's great if, I don't know, you've got grandkids that go to the school here maybe, and you happen to live up in this quadrant. Then the other ones are down here on Bloor. Now this is towards Old Mill, which is nice, but of course the prime stretch of the Kingsway, well, rather the prime stretch of the retail on Bloor is from, let's say, Prince Edward over to Royal York. So then you've got this one over here, doing that for effect, at Montgomery, which is just kind of getting out of what would be the prime Kingsway. And then you've got one here, which is an awesome location, but older buildings. So point I want to make, guys, is that if you were a downsizer, and sorry, it should be noted that I don't say the average price in the Kingsway is $3.5–4 million, but if you're in an older home in the Kingsway, even a knockdown is going to be $2.5 million. But I'm talking about the folks that on average are in a $3.5–4 million home, want to stay in the area, want the convenient lifestyle that's associated with a condo. But of course, let's say you've got roots in the community, you want to shop at the same shopping center that you've been going to for your entire life, want to walk out to get the same coffee, and there is your option set. So let's start here with this one at 3085 Bloor. So this, guys, is called the Montgomery. And I have to wonder if Montgomery Tavern, I'm thinking grade 8, 1993, Mrs. Withers, Confederation Canada, the Montgomery Tavern, I believe that's where the revolt started, is it not? To separate from England? Okay, the Montgomery Tavern. So this building's called the Montgomery. It was built, as you can see here, in 2002. This is only 6 stories and 83 units, and it's a very pretty looking building. This, from the outside, that looks like a nice stately building. Now it's old, it's 23 years old. And what I would say here, our fees are $1491.67. So let's put this up, guys. The unit is 1060 square feet. We have fees of $1491.67. Our fees are, you ready for this? $1.41 a square foot. That's really expensive. Now, once upon a time, I used to say in Pick 5 and on the blog, the average maintenance fees in the city of Toronto are somewhere around 75 cents a square. Now I'd say on average, they're probably around 85 cents a square. $1.41 is expensive. Now the unit's $999,900. It's been on the market for 40 days. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath, as I said, 1060 square feet. So what have we got? What do we get for our money? Beautiful lobby, nice amenities, and here's our unit. This does not feel like a 2002 build, but it's not huge. For $1 million, which is a lot to some and a pittance to others, for $1 million, you're getting your 1060 square feet. You've got your little enclosed kitchen, which you're not going to be necessarily in love with if you're coming from a much bigger Kingsway house. Are you downsizing from $4 million to your table, couch, and enclosed kitchen? So this to me represents a starting point. Got the short order chef window, as we call it. There's no island. Folks that are downsizing usually have a hard time wrapping their head around a kitchen with not a lot of prep space, right? I don't know who's rolling out dough to hand make pasta or what have you, but that seems to be one of the critiques. And I've worked with a lot of downsizers, and here you can see this is a 2002 bathroom. Everything in here is nicely presented. It's clean. It's in good shape. It's just not 2025. We don't have brand new quartz counters in the bathroom. We've got laminate, right? We don't have the undermount sink. We have old hardware, separate shower and tub. It's a decent size, right? Now we're into amenities photos. So not a ton of photos with this unit. And I think we can skip through this pretty quickly. But what I will do is go to the map and say, hey, you know what? As far as location goes, right? I said Montgomery Road. Is there a Montgomery Tavern, or am I going crazy? If you guys did not have Mrs. Withers teach you grade 8 history, you're not familiar with Sir Johnny MacDonald and all the fun stuff that happened. Yeah, Montgomery Tavern. I'm going to look that up after. So point being, great location. It's on Bloor. Now prime here. This is kind of prime. This is the area that you really want to be close to. And if I could zoom out, right, Kingsway starts over here. Now these are multiplexes, and then you've got the park. But once you get to Prince Edward, this is where all your commercial retail infrastructure is. So you want to be close to this. So I give this building here an A+ location. And what I'm going to say is the unit, it's a bit small for a lot of the downsizers. The price per square foot here is $943. So I think it's a great option for the folks that really only need that level of square footage. Okay, so 935 Royal York. This is a penthouse, so it's got that panache. And I really like this because it is at the top of the building. It's unique. It's got a nice terrace, and it's very, very private. So 2 beds plus a den, 2 bath. The square footage here is 1,443. So we're $250,000 higher than the last one, but we've got 400 plus square feet more. Now on a per square foot basis, this is priced at $872 a square. That's pretty cheap. Now the maintenance fees, $1,904 a month. I'm going to typecast and say that older folks are okay to pay higher maintenance fees. They're on a fixed income. They can budget for that. Younger folks absolutely hate it because they're usually, I don't want to say living paycheck to paycheck, but they're a little bit more price sensitive. So note this, heat pump electric, that's going to mean your bills are a little bit higher. And it's an older building. This was built in the year 2000. It's only 6 stories and 34 units. So yeah, you're not used to your forced air gas and your Wolf range and everything like that. You've got electric and you've got heat pump. Now you've also got a greenhouse window here, which is amazing. It might get a little bit warm sometimes, but the unit itself nicely laid out. I really do like this layout. It's right. This is what I meant by the greenhouse window effect. That's beautiful. That's unique. That's a really cool feature that if you're coming from a house and you don't want cookie cutter, maybe this is the spot. So you've got a gas fireplace. Maybe that kind of feels like your house in the Kingsway, and it's enough space. It's very nicely presented. And there you go. Great shot there. That's nice. That's cottagey. I think you could downsize into this. It's very pretty. Got a lot of photos of plants and books and stuff like that. Here we go. There's your den. Could be the second bedroom. But it's nice. You've got 2 windows. It's a corner. There's your terrace. Now, I don't know how functional this is going to be. I don't know how much you're going to use this because it's not like, I've always made the argument, if you've got a terrace that's 400 square feet and it's 20 by 20, that's very functional. If it's 40 by 10, okay, well, not as much. And then, the ridiculous, I don't know if it's 400 feet long by a foot deep. I don't know, you're like doing the edge walk on CN Tower. But point is, how it's laid out is, of course, important. So there you can see the windows. I mentioned private. It's definitely private. There's no one around you. So I really like this unit. I think they did a drone shot, if I'm not mistaken. There's the terrace. Yeah, check that out. That's your unit. So as I said, how usable is this here? Well, if I had it all in a square, it'd be much more usable. But you can see location right on Royal York. Fantastic location. You've got your barbecue here. You could probably do a little patio set here, and if you want to do a lounge set here or vice versa. Now let's get back into the unit because we haven't seen the kitchen yet, which is, well, okay, a little bit dated, but look, you've got your little eat-in kitchen area. You step up here and walk outside. I think this is a great downsizer unit. This all looks 2000. That looks like the fridge I had growing up, although we moved into our house in 92, where, you had the Sub-Zero, but it was paneled with wood. Actually, mine is like that now, just a 2018 version. So really, really like this unit. The only knock or question mark, I would say, with respect to this unit is the price, because the price actually looks really good. $872 per square foot. I'm gonna keep going here because there's a couple more photos. Yeah, there you go, bedroom. Nice. Huge dressing room. Like, that's unbelievable. So if you're coming from a larger house in the Kingsway, you have a massive walk-in dressing area. So maybe the finishes aren't your jam, but the space works. And they renovated the bathroom, thank goodness. That's really nice. I never understand the tub in the shower thing, but okay, hey. I was in Japan once. They had Japanese wet floors. That was fun the very first night when you walked in to go to the bathroom and you got a soaker. Your buddy's like, it's a Japanese wet floor, bro. Like, the floor's wet. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So the only knock, as I said, they're listed at $1,259,000, and these guys bought this for $1,175,000 last June. So as much as I want to say $872 per square foot sounds like fantastic value, I think the market has retracted a little bit since June of 2024, at least in the condo market. So maybe the people that bought it got a ridiculous deal when they did, but if you're looking just on paper and you take average condo price in June of 2024, change with respect to market value, I don't know that you're $1,259,000 now. So love the unit, love the building, love the offering, great square footage, great price per square foot. The only knock, of course, is that it feels like these guys are priced at what will get them out of it with land transfer tax and real estate fees. Okay, so 2855 Bloor. Let's go to the map here. Actually, sorry, I wanna go back to the last one, Royal York. Didn't really need to. This is 3085. That was the first building I showed you. And this one, Royal York and Bloor. Can't get a better location. So now I'll show you our next one, which is 2885. So it's not at Old Mill down in here. When you come up, guys, you come up the South Kingsway, and over here is Bloor West Village. And then you go, you go down the bridge here, you go over the river, and then you see the Old Mill. Okay, so you've got the hotel, you've got a bunch of condos. This one is a little bit further west of there, but it's still not right outside. And it's not a big stretch of Bloor, but this is where all your commercial retail is. It's not right outside of that. It's a very quick jaunt. So the building itself, this is a much larger complex. We saw 83 units the first time, 34 units the second time. This is only 8 stories and 135 units. But that's pretty big compared to the ones we just saw. So this building was built in 2006. Oh my God, I remember showing a unit in here when the building was brand new. Those guys ended up buying at Palace Pier. This building was brand new, and now it's been 19 years. So we're $1,585,000. This unit is 1,280 square feet. So these guys are priced at $1,238 a square. So if you are this proverbial downsizer, you're looking at your absolute cost. Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? Then you're looking at your relative cost. How much am I getting? Price per square foot. So then you start to look at the finishes. And the last one we saw was a little bit dated, could have used some modernization, let's say. Newer buildings can have better amenities, but I don't know, does that lobby look any different than the other lobby? Is that why you buy a unit? Not necessarily. So then you get in and you can see like, okay, they've updated it. This doesn't feel like 2006. This here for sure, you've got higher ceilings, more traditional elements with the crown molding. It looks like the floor has been redone. Time was you would have the floorboards going this way. They've gone across this way probably to expand the feel as you walk into this sort of open concept den area. So again, you would usually think this would be your living room, this would be your dining, and then what's this? They've put the TV in there. I like that. It's, again, oh, they actually have a TV here too. Wow. It's trying to get that downsizer effect. Someone's coming from a huge house where they've got a living room, plus they've got a rec room, and they've got the man cave in the basement. And here you're saying, can I move into 1,280 square feet from a, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, or maybe even 5,000 square foot home. So remains to be seen. I mean, the last one we'll look at is substantially larger, but it's substantially more expensive. And here you can see everything's upgraded, but for the person downsizing, they look at this kitchen and they're like, I can't do it. And I've done, as I said, I've done downsizes. I mean, honestly, I downsized my wife's grandparents, and it was, you know, like they've got 80 years of doing things the way that they want to do it, and they just don't understand certain things. They're like, why is there no wall between the kitchen and the dining room? Oh, it's called open concept, Grandma. Aha. Is it? And you're like, all right, I'm not winning this argument, right? Like, actually once, here's a story for you. When the Keurig came out, we bought the Keurig for Grandma and Grandpa. And they looked at it and they said, where does the water come from? I said, well, it comes from the thing in the back. Aha. So you just leave the water then? Yes, and then you fill it up. So you could have yesterday's water today? Yes, that's how a Keurig works. Aha. Thank you, but no thank you. And then they stayed with their drip coffee, even though the whole world uses Keurig or Tassimo or what have you. Or what's one George Clooney advertises for? Nespresso. Anyways, that's old people for you. Imagine trying to get them to downsize. Now, as I was telling a story about Grams, we skipped through some of these photos. There's not a ton to see here. As I said, I'm looking at that layout, which has 2 beds and it has 2 TV areas. It has a very small kitchen and it's $1,585,000. Now the fees here, $1,429.70. This is $1.12 a square foot. This is, interestingly enough, the cheapest fees per square foot that we're going to see today. Okay, so the next one is up on Arlington. Now I mentioned at the onset when I showed you our map that we're going to see up here near what is some beautiful real estate on Kingsway Crescent, what is near Lambton Kingsway, but what else is it near? Okay, it's near Dundas. So you've got a little plaza and a little bit of infrastructure here on Dundas, but let's be honest, guys, and no disrespect to anybody that lives in this building or on that street, but this is what people want. They want to be on Bloor. So I'm going to need a massive discount to live up here if I'm the person looking to downsize. I wouldn't say you can't walk from here to here, but if you're in your 70s or 80s, congratulations. But I don't know that you're going for the cup of coffee there. I think you're better off at 3085 Bloor, or you're better off over at 935 Royal York. You're probably even better over here at 2855. So this is a penthouse. It is $1.7 million, 2-bed, 2-bath. You can see here this was built in 2007. This building is 6 stories and 129 units. Now at 1,280 square feet, which is the same square footage as the one we just saw, you're $1,328 a square. $1,328 a square. Now I will come back to that. So the unit itself, yes, it's a penthouse. Beautiful built-ins, very nice terrace. So are you looking for a terrace? Some people downsizing absolutely have to have the outdoor space. Sure, yeah. They've been living in a house with a backyard and a front yard and a driveway. They need that outdoor space. Other folks, my wife's grandmother, for example, they used to call it the garden. The garden, I never went outside in their house, which was on Lonsdale, and they used to refer to the garden. Never went outside there once, and then they ended up buying in a building that not only has no outdoor space, it doesn't even have a Juliet. It's just like you're sealed into a glass room. That happens to be, 1,600 square feet. So here you can see you do have a beautiful terrace and there's a great view. This is very nicely upgraded. Is this your dining room? That's what I would want to know. Yeah, we'll come back to that. So there you go, kitchen. Yeah, oh, this is huge actually. Okay, let me kind of take it back. It's really big. We need a floor plan. This looks a bit narrow. See, this is what my wife's grandmother would want to downsize into, a little kitchen. And they're on Avenue Road in an older building, but the kitchen is completely separate from the living room and the dining room, and that's how they want it. So you go back to the one that was completely open concept that I had said earlier. What was that? The last one on 2855 Bloor. Yeah, it'd be nice and everything and upgraded, but no counter space, no prep space, and just too open. So call me guilty of typecasting if you want to. So here you can see some of these finishes are a bit dated from '07. That's definitely dated. And there you go. There's your den, right? We turn the second bedroom into a den. That's where Grandpa watches TV. Okay, very nice. So let's get to the outdoor space. This is beautiful, right? And this is part of the reason why they're asking the price that they are. You've got a really great view, but you still got to remember, if you're downsizing, you are up at Dundas. You're not off of Bloor. So you've got an area here for dining, an area here for sitting, reading the newspaper, really going to typecast. What do old people do? They read the newspaper. Many of them have Kindles. My wife's grandmother can't even see the screen. She wrote me the nicest message the other day when I finished the half marathon, and none of it made any sense at all. It was just like, I could picture her pounding on the keys. She's like 94. They have that giant keyboard and the letters, the keys are yellow. It's like huge. Although that'll be us one day. Although we won't have keyboards, we'll just blink. Okay, so 1.7. So here's my rub, guys. And don't get me wrong, Love it. Nice. Renovated and everything. But these guys bought it in 2019 for $993. So they've done a ton of work to it. Don't get me wrong. But $993 and now we're at 1.7. So I think that if this particular unit was down on Bloor, incredible value. Love that terrace. It's only 1,280 square feet. Do we have a floor plan? We do. Amazing. Okay. And I really like, as I mentioned, this floor plan for that downsizer, because here is that kitchen. And I mentioned, and I think I'm guilty of this, I said, is the dining in the kitchen? No. They have that massive dining room with the high backs and almost makes it look like it's a kitchen island. You have an enclosed kitchen. This is what grandma wants. Full living, full dining, separate, massive terrace, split bedroom. Amazing. And each of them has an ensuite. What more could you possibly want? Fantastic offering. Like everything else right now in the city of Toronto, price is a question mark. Okay, I just got an offer on one of my listings. It's very low. That was in the last couple of minutes. I don't even want to look at my phone right now. Things are blowing up. Okay, so last but not least, we have for the Kingsway, unit 702. So let's go to the Kingsway. No, seriously, let's go right now. Let's go to the Kingsway, and you can see it's basically a nudge closer than 2855 Bloor. So here's 2855. This is on north side. When you're coming up Bloor, and then you go off to Kingsway Crescent, I can literally, you know what? Let's do this guy here. Cool. Oh, man. Technology. There it is. So 2855 Bloor for Kingsway Crescent. Very pretty building. And as you can see, sorry, I'm going to spin around here, but when you're coming this way and you say, let's drive up the Kingsway and let's look at some really amazing houses, you're going up this way. And this is the newest building in the area where the prices are interesting. Yeah. So actually, to be perfectly honest, this unit is only priced at $13.78 a square, which I would probably justify, moreover, a lot of condos in the city of Toronto. So this is, I don't want to say supposed to be, this is a luxury building. This was built in 2020. It's 8 stories and only 34 units. Okay, do the math there. That's what, 4.1 units per floor. This is for the high-end downsizer. Somebody that's, and I would think, a lot of people must have thought about downsizing from the Kingsway and buying one of these in pre-construction. Sure, let's do it, put the deposit down, and when the building's ready, we'll move. Then, of course, along came COVID. So we're 2.575 here. So we're now 2.5 times where we were when we started for $999,000. We're 1868 square feet, as I said, so that is $13.78 per square foot. Our fees are $26.91. That is a lot of money. That is a mortgage payment for most people. Those are just your fees. And that's $1.44 a square foot, but of course it is luxury and it is a new building and the amenities are substantial. So let's look at this. And I'm not even gonna talk because it is beautiful. Very Martha Stewart. Did you guys watch the Netflix special on Martha Stewart? Man, I'm on like episode 4 of the Vietnam documentary. Ooh, it's a tough one. And then sometimes I watch it before bed, and I'm like, why am I doing this? But yeah, no, there was a good Martha Stewart documentary. It was very interesting. This is, I don't want to say Martha Stewart, but this is very much Design Magazine. And see the rounded windows here, guys? Sorry, can I just go back? Check this out. Oh, wouldn't it be neat to be in one of these? Oh, guess what? Oh, we are. That's amazing. And then look at all the treetops here. So this feels like, I don't know, give me another Martha Stewart who didn't go to jail for stock fraud or whatever. But yeah, it just feels like it's something out of a Design Magazine. Look at this, it's beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the finishes, I love the decor, I love the design. Even something like this. Where would you get this wallpaper? I don't know, because I'm not that classy. You have a real laundry room. Imagine folks that are coming from a massive house and you have a laundry closet. No, they have a real laundry room. So, beautiful gym, beautiful amenities, as I've said. The deck with the barbecue. I need to get a new barbecue. Mine's from my old condo. Yeah, just thinking out loud here, guys. My ADHD's on fire today. So there you go. You can see that's crazy. Look how big this building is. If I told you there's only 34 units in this building, you'd be like, no way. Right. They're big units. It's a luxury building. This is where, if you are in that $4 to $5 million house in Kingsway, this is where you want to downsize to. I absolutely love it. Can we just go back? What was my favorite photo? This is where I said Martha Stewart. And I went off on one of 9 different tangents. So again, here's the building from the outside. Let's go to Sky View and we'll see Yeah, love this right here. Love me some 4 Kingsway. And then here is the Kingsway. So to walk from here, let's take a trip along Bloor. As I said, okay, over here you've got some multiplexes, and then you get up to here. And this is essentially where the commercial retail infrastructure starts, which is at Prince Edward. And from Prince Edward, right, there's your LCBO, your TD, you've got your Starbucks and whatnot. You guys know what's up here. But this is essentially where the main drag is. And for 2.575, I really, really like this unit. Now, one more thing I will do is show you the listing history. This has been listed, a few times. Now, establishing value in a newer building, especially in high end, can be difficult. So what we're seeing now, as my screen loads, thanks for bearing with me, is that these guys came out at 2888, 2798, 2698, and 2575. So they're now at 1378 a square foot. I mean, for my money, and it's not my money because I'm not moving there, but for my money, I would think that building, that square footage, that layout, and those finishes, yeah, okay, that's about right. Anyways, guys, that is the Kingsway. Those are downsizer targets for folks living in the Kingsway. And you could take any area in the city of Toronto. I mentioned Leaside as an example, which doesn't have a ton of condos, certainly does not or did not have luxury condos like the 4 Kingsway until Garlock Developments did 1414 Bayview. But in any area in the city of Toronto, when you look at folks that are in their 70s or maybe even 80s, maybe even 60s if they're lucky, and saying, I've been in this house for a long time, 20, 30, 40 years, I want to downsize, but I want to stay in the area, you've got to look at what condos are in the immediately surrounding vicinity. I look at walkability, as I mentioned here, of course, how far are we going to the main drag, and what are we used to visiting and walking from our house? How far is the condo going to be? I look at the age of the condo. I look at the size, the number of units, and the number of stories. Then I look at those maintenance fees because some of those are really, really tough to stomach. But hey, it's all factored into the price. Anyways, guys, that is it for me for another week here on Pick 5. Thank you, as always, for watching. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.